Oh, good day everyone and welcome to this community update. I'm Dougal and I'm joined this time by one of our wardens, Ron Guthrie. Welcome, Ron.
Thanks, Dougal. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, Ron. There's loads of exciting things going on across our parish. What's happening?
Well, there's a lot of things happening, as you say, and it's really, I've been blown away with the things that have happened since COVID sort of got past the shutdown stage.
Yeah, right.
We've got a lot of growth at the 10 a.m. service and also a bit at the 6 p.m. service. We've got extra growth groups starting up, and we've got a stream of young adult leaders coming through, which I think there's about a dozen of them at the moment. So it's all happening.
There is a lot happening, but there's more that needs to be done, Ron, and particularly in the area of local mission and outreach. What do we need to do to make that happen?
Well, what we need to do to make that happen is to staff it properly. You and Roger and the other staff we've got here can't do everything. And we need to concentrate on the things that are important to God's work here. We've put together a budget that actually allows for that additional staff, and we've got to find them, of course. But we've put the budget together and we're ready to go as soon as we can get hold of them.
Right.
We do have a slight problem, however, that we're slightly behind that budget.
Right.
Probably to the extent that it doesn't sustain the extra staff over a long time. So it's not huge. We're about 10% down at the moment, which works out to about $4,000 a month.
Okay, but that's okay because we can just hit up the Anglican diocese or the new government for that matter, Ron, right?
For a start, we pay the diocese. They don't pay us. Churches like us contribute to the work of the diocese, which is good work and useful stuff. Yeah. But they don't give us money. We give them money.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And the government?
Well, we'll move on. So what do you want people to know then, Ron?
Well, what I want people to know is that our church is financed solely by the contributions from people in the congregation.
Right.
We all have a responsibility to give to the work of our church. Nobody gets a free ride.
Right.
We all have to give something, and we all have different means, of course.
Sure.
But the point about it is being committed to the giving, being committed to the vision, and also being regular.
Right.
It's not good enough to sort of say, well, gee, I didn't like the sermon this week, or somebody pinched my favourite parking spot, or that sort of thing.
Right.
Therefore, I won't put my money in. That's just crazy stuff.
Okay, so let's say I do give, Ron. Tell me, where does my money go?
Well, your money goes, first of all, to the work of this church itself, obviously, most of it. So about 70%, maybe a bit less of that goes to all the staff costs. Typical of a service industry type situation, most of it is staff. There'll be a bit set aside for maintenance and building repairs and that sort of thing. But what's different with the church, and particularly our church, is there's a fair whack of that goes towards mission.
Yeah, well, so over $50,000 budgeted for this year, which some people might not know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's going to our mission partners, Church Missionary Society, and others like them. So, Ron, let's say I want to give. How do I do it?
Well, the best way is electronically, of course. It works best for the church, but it also works best for the individual. I give electronically. I work out each year how much I want to give, set it up on my bank account, then it just goes out automatically. I don't think about it. It's almost like driving through a toll booth, it takes the money out of your pocket
before you know it. Yeah, and that's how Rachel and I give as well. It's very helpful for us because we've set it and it just happens.
Yeah. Also helpful for the church though, because it's regular. It's not lumps.
Sure.
All our costs are regular. So we really need a regular income.
Sure. And those details are on your screen there. So Ron, tell us then, what are you wanting people to do?
Well, what I'm wanting people to do is to have a think about their giving, to prayerfully consider their giving. If you're a regular giver, I'd like you to consider whether you are able to up that by the 10% we're looking for.
Right. Okay.
If you're not a regular giver, or you're not a giver at all, I'd like to challenge you by saying, well, why not? Okay. Just what is there about God's work that you don't want to give to?
Sure.
That might sound a bit harsh, but we do need to challenge ourselves for that. And I'd like people that aren't giving or aren't giving in a considered regular way to have a think about that.
To think about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always persuaded by that line. I think it's in 2 Corinthians 8. You know, in the same way that you excel in faith, in speech, in knowledge, also see that you excel in this grace of giving in response to God's generosity.
Yep.
But Ron, tell me then, what does that mean in practice for someone to
Well,
give?
in practice, I struggled with this when I was a young fella growing up.
Right.
You know, everything belongs to God. You know, you should give everything to Him. What does that mean? Does that mean I sell my house, give all my money away, and then I die? No, clearly it doesn't. But there is no real lead. The only lead I ever found was the Old Testament tithe, the 10%.
Right.
You know, and that's what I use, not in the sort of Pharisaic, legalistic way of 10% of everything, 10% cut off my shoes, or all that sort of thing. But 10% of my income that I set aside each year, and if my salary goes up, so does my giving.
And so that's your regular habit.
That's my regular habit.
It's substantial and it's regular as well.
Other people might have other ways of doing it.
Sure.
That's not the only way you can do it, but you've got to have some method.
Thanks, Ron. That's been really helpful. Thank you for the update. I hope you've found that helpful as well. And I also hope that you're prepared to back the work of our church, both prayerfully and financially, and also willing to get involved in serving at our church, that you might join us in partnership as we seek to have more people being transformed by Jesus. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Dougal.
Look forward to seeing you on Sunday.